All right, so hello everyone. This is our demo session, and it's very exciting. It's probably gonna be the most exciting session for me personally, because I'm very curious and I read a lot of these project titles and they look super interesting. So I'm really excited to see what you have built, or even if it's partial, or if it's just an idea or at the ideation phase yet. Yeah, and this session I would probably talk less, and you folks would talk more. So that's also awesome. I just want to quickly share a couple of things, and then I'll just hand it over to you. So we'll go over the projects one by one from top to bottom. And then for any reason, if the presenter is not present by the time that they have to present, we would skip. And then at the very end, we would get back to. So these are all the projects that are supposed to present today. We have around 9 projects. Let me know if you want to present, but it's missing. It's not among these. So right now it's filtered based on all the people that marked yes here. So that's that. Each presentation, we would approximately give 10 minutes for the presentation itself. And then a few minutes, like 2 to 3 minutes for like question answering, if there are any questions. One thing I want to note that is this session is probably going to be very valuable, not because of the fact that you are presenting, but because of the fact that you can get a lot of feedback from everyone. So the feedback part is really important, and I want to add some clarification there. Obviously, one way to share your feedback regarding the presentations that you are hearing is in the course portal. In the course portal in the Capstone project channel here. So here you can always post your feedback after the session, after a day or two, or whenever you have any ideas about some of these projects. In the meantime, when we also start present or going over the presentation for each project, in the chat channel, me or Tressa, we would type the project title, and then you can also provide like live feedback in the chat, so that later on, after we provide the chat history, you can easily filter the conversation and see what feedback or what kind of questions people were shared. And yeah, that is another thing. So just 2 different ways to share your feedback. So I think I covered everything. So perhaps we can get started. So I will give it to so there are no team names. So I would go with the project title, and then I would stop sharing, and then you can share your screen or your video, and then you can start presenting. And please try to wrap your presentation in 10 minutes, so we can also have like 2 to 3 minutes for question answer. All right, so we can start with the first project for AI travel agent for flights, hotels, and itinerary. Who is gonna present? Please go ahead and share your screen.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Ali. I'm going to share my screen. I sent you a request.
Yeah, just accept it.
Okay. Second. Okay. Can you see my screen?
I yes.
Okay, perfect. So first of all, I just want to introduce the team. So it's John, Mohammed, Franklin, and myself. We built a AI travel planner to find to help plan like the itinerary, the hotels, and the flights over the last few weeks. I'm going to fill out the form now. I'm going to run it. It takes about a minute, and then I'm going to explain the tech stack. So I'm currently in San Francisco, and let's say I want to plan a vacation to Chicago. So this is the airport code, it's ORD. And let's say I want to go for 1 week during the holidays. Chicago. I can just simply write down the information and press search trip. So for the tech stack, we use React and Byte for the front end. For the back end, we use Fast API with in Python, and we're using two APIs, SERP API, um, and we're using Crew AI for the agents. I think it's a multi-agent orchestration, and Gemini doing things in background. We're also using Pydantic for the model validations. So yeah, it's going to load a little bit, hopefully soon. Okay, so now we have the results. So the first section is the flight. So SERP will do like a Google search and return some flights. So you have the United, 619. This one is 737 and 814. And so the AI will choose like, okay, you look at the first one. Okay, so this is the least expensive one. Travel time is the least. It's also non-stop, so it's going to choose this one. Um, for the hotels, it's gonna look at this array. And I think it picks the happy homes, which is $90. And the reasoning is that it has a high rating. So even if it's not like it's a bit more expensive than $63, it's gonna choose that one. And then finally, it's gonna make a itinerary for like the 6 days. So this is the flight information. This is the hotel. Um, so yeah, so it would say that okay, first day we're going to arrive at the hotel. There's a transfer. You can take a taxi, like a ride share, or you can even look. It knows that it's the CTA Blue Line, which is the Chicago like public transportation, and it give you direction for that. And the rest is just plans like art, architecture. For example, Arts Institute of Chicago for the first day, go to the museum campus immersion, etc. So yeah, that's basically what we've done. And yeah, thank you for listening in. Um,
Yeah, this is awesome. It was it was
oh,
it was really awesome.
thank you. I can also share the link if anyone wants to try it. So I have it. Um, Let me check team chat.
Ca-
Um,
can you also show the behind the code stuff just for us to look at
yes,
how things are?
yes. So let me just get the chats first.
While
Sorry.
each is doing,
Um,
like I would suggest, like everyone to try give your feedback, and then on the November 30th we'll try to do a commercial demo and see, like and in the meantime, whatever feedback you give us, it will be really valuable for us.
yeah. So the next step is to fully flesh this. So we're gonna host it on AWS. We're gonna add more features. So um, something we're working on is a way to group the to group the places that we're gonna visit together. Um, and yes, okay, the agent orchestrator, yes, it's Crew AI. Yeah, so I've shared the link if anyone wants to play with. Um, this points to my local my local hosted environments, and the GitHub contains the source code if anyone wants to take a look.
Great. Are there any questions? We can follow raised hands if you have questions for the team. Maybe I can start with my own question. I'm just curious, what is your future plan and strategy for the project?
So yeah, we had some brainstorming session, and um yeah, something we could be like, okay, how do we fetch the hotels better? Could we buy tickets directly? If so, how? How do we integrate this? Could we maybe integrate with Stripe or other payments? Um, and yeah, obviously the question of like monetization came up. I think it's still in the work.
Mhm.
Maybe a bit early. Yeah. Um, for the prompts, we do need to fine tune them. So
Mhm.
for example, the hotel, like maybe someone is more interested in the ratings. Maybe other people are more interested in um, just the price. So maybe there's a way like if a user uses more, they can the system can somehow remember. Or even in the beginning, if we open the app, then we can have like a onboarding session where the user will input their preferences.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mohammed, if you have anything
Yeah.
in mind,
So
please
basically, to
please let me
add
know.
on top of each is like feature planning, we have an ambitious goal. Like if we can really find a like really good solution, we are planning to even form a company. Like this is too ambitious now, like, but if the community helps us in feature requests and all those things, like yeah, probably we should aim for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So we have two questions. Chetan, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think the first one probably you already answered, like, in the selection, if there can be, of course, like, you are interested in museums, or you're interested in what kind of food,
Mhm.
what kind of, all that kind of, or outdoor, how much, as much kind of a open text area for customer to enter preferences, different type of preferences, not just the places, but the food, kind of food and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And that selection, it could be done on the app level, maybe like a global settings, or it could be done on the form level. Every time you can select what food or what's kind of like attraction do you want to see? Do you want to go for museum, or do you want to go for nature? For like the
Yeah, we will have
landmarks.
personalization. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, good
And of
question.
course, I mean, I guess like any other travel planner, like the dates can be a little more flexible, that typical plus minus 3 days or kind of stuff.
Yes, that's that's good. That's good. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's all.
Great. So while we go to the next question, I would like to also invite everyone to share their feedback as well in the chat. I mean, Teresa, please go ahead and share the project title. So, and yes, please share your feedback. So next question is Stanislaus.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, hi. This is a great project. So this is something I was thinking of doing too. It'll be very helpful planning everything. My quick question is, where are you getting this information? The flight details and the hotel prices, is that a free service or is that a paid service?
That's a good question. So I think it's a tier service. We're using SERP. So what SERP does is that it does a Google search, because Google Flight and Google hotels, they don't have a good API. So SERP will return um, these this result, and we're feeding these to a prompt on and Korea to um to generate the answer.
Ah, okay. That is free service available to get all these information. One place you can get the hotel information, flight information, right? And then the regular itinerary you can ask AI probably, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so Serve is free. So the LLM we're using Gemini, I think that costs a little bit. Maybe like a few cents, or like a cent or two for every request.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and as Ali said, I'm sorry, but I think time is up. But feel free to put your questions in the comments, and me or Mohammed will answer them.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, Tim. It was really great. We can go to the next project. That is stock. No. Yes. Stock summary. No. SQL query generation.
Hey, let me share my screen. I probably need to quit Zoom and rejoin. Just give me a second. Can you guys hear me?
I am hearing you. So
Okay, yeah. Let me try it one more time. Okay, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let me quickly share. So my project is about a SQL generation tool. So it's like a RAG pipeline system where the user can enter a general English text. And then we do have a chain memory where the UI as well. So the UI looks something like this. The user, we have few tables that are interconnected with primary keys and secondary keys and foreign keys and all this sort of stuff. And all the user has to do is just enter their query, like show me the top 5 customers by their total purchase amount. And then using that query, I send a schema to the RAG sends a schema to my LLM, and my LLM will be constructing a SQL query. And also, once the response comes back to my system, I execute the query using SQLite and retrieve the results and show it. Along with that, based on those results that I've received, LLM also gives me the insights of what are the things that were going on with these customers. So it's mostly like a data analytics project. Along with that, I also created a conversation history. For example, this is my first question. And my next question is, which product category made most revenue this quarter? And you can also see the SQL query getting created over here. Let me move this a bit. So electronics is the highest revenue that was created for this year. I also can go back to previous years as well, show me total sales per region. So we do have a few regions like California, Texas, and other places. So it goes into multiple tables, creates a constructor query, and fetches those results for us. I'll also go over the tech stack and everything, but yeah. So these are the total sales of California, Florida, Illinois, and New York, and Texas. And some of the AI generated insights are sales overviews and all these details with total revenue, overall sales for all the regions, and percentage clarification of California has 57%, all these useful insights that are needed for sales folks. And I'll just run one more query. I can also change, I mean, it's not, these are just the static queries that I've just picked up. I can also move to a different years as well. The data that I have added is between 2023 to 2025. So I see a few folks, but while it's running, you guys can ask the question. Bye, Bob.
Hey, so how is this answers are grounded?
Sure. Let me quickly go over the architecture of this. So how this works is user asks a question, and we do have a chat memory manager which stores the conversation history and also provides a context to the follow-up questions that goes into it and maintains sorry for the background noise. What we are doing is, let me quickly go with this. So we do have a generator.py, which calls a schema SQL file that loads the schema into our SQLite table, which is this retail DB. And then once we run this generate data.py, what it does is it has a different prompts explaining what data that is being injected into our DB. So the DB ingestion is also being generated by our LLM. And also it knows all the structures and contexts that are going behind different tables regarding the relationships and all. Along with the schema generation, it also generates me the schema metadata, which this is also LLM generated because while the data is being ingested, LLM knows the relationship between the tables. It creates this schema metadata information, which we use in order to store into our embedding. So this is where the schema generator receives a natural language question, and here is where the schema embedder is. The vector store has the information about the metadata and as well as each description about the columns and the table relationship. And also I'm also providing some of the sample queries to help LLM understand what if I send this, what if I send that, how to join them. And also in the prompt, if you see some of the questions that I've been sending, this is for that, there is a database.py. And yeah, if you're seeing some specific dates and all, how do you have to query and all this kind of crucial information that we are sending to the prompts, helping it to connect the dots and also making it easier for us in order to fetch the data. Some of the critical rules I'm passing in here, like while filtering the category, always include the category condition, example, electronics. So at times what it's doing is LLM is just giving me the IDs, but I just don't want to see the IDs. Another example over here is if you see which salesperson generated the highest sales in the last month. So that's one of the, if you're working in a sales company, then that's some of the information that which everyone wants to see in order to see the revenue and also the income that they are getting. So earlier it was just giving me the salesperson ID. Now it gives me the name of the salesperson and total sales that person had done. So if you're seeing in here, yeah, for queries entitled to the customer, salesperson, product, always include their names, not just their IDs. And these kind of prompt validations that I've been doing in order to get this to shape. It's not 100% perfectly working, but I'm also providing some of the sample queries in the prompt itself, helping it to connect the dots and make things easier. And LLM, instead of hallucinating about what query it has to give, it also just follows these guidelines and try to construct as robust query as it can. And this system also have a retry mechanism. If by any chance, while LLM is trying to execute the query and the validation failed, we are using React retry. So it tries to re-execute and reconstruct that query using the prompt again and make sure there are no runtime errors. If there are no runtime errors and no data is being received, then it's pretty much not doing much. It just gives you the query and then let it have an empty data over here. That's pretty much to it. I'll take the questions.
This is awesome. Just one follow-up question, right? So, most of your queries will be regarding reading the data, right? Joining the table and all those things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because like we had an incident where an AI agent deleted the whole database. You don't have something like that.
It's mostly just reading it. Yeah.
Right.
It's just reading the data. Yeah. I mean, the text generation, I've used LLM as well instead of me trying to go to different tools that are like Mocro and all in order to generate those schema manually. I was like, okay, anyway, I need this schema metadata in here. So why not just use this SQL in order to query structure in order to pass it to LLM. That way it can just generate this data on the fly along with loading the data for me. I can also quickly show the logs of how this looks, because if I start running these tables, it's going to take a little while. So if you see when I start the application in order to load the data, it says it found 5 tables in this schema.sql and then starts generating the metadata for all the tables. And then once the metadata has been generated, it starts creating about 100 customers and all these other things. And once it's done, it just gives me the data it generated. It's about 100 customers, 20 sales folks, 50 products, and 500 orders and total orders over the time and all this sort of stuff.
Sandeep, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So, hey, Siddharth, thanks for presenting.
Hey.
This is really awesome. So, if you can go back to your architecture diagram, your README,
Sure.
I have only one question. So,
Yeah.
you're using the query vector DB for relevant schema, RAG. So, how exactly are you using that? If you can elaborate on it.
For the RAG, so
Yeah.
all RAG does is it has the data of the schema, this schema metadata.json, which is embedded into the vector DB. And when the user asks the question, it tries to find the relevant description of it, as of it's just basing on description of the column data. But after it picks up the relevant description in here, for example, if you ask which salesperson has generated the last moment, right? So it goes and searches for the salesperson metadata in here. And then it also sees orders in here, highest sales. So it also says for the order count, and also it I think I got muted, maybe ran out of time, but yeah, it sends these kind of relevant information to the LLM with the schema and sample queries. So LLM can relate it and then try to give us accurate information here.
Yeah, thanks, Siddharth. One last question. Which LLM are you using here?
I'm using ChatGPT, OpenAI.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Sorry for the mute. That was my bad. We can take 2 more questions. And in the meantime, please share your feedbacks in the chat.
Sure. I'll also check this into GitHub. I was just done by yesterday night, so I didn't get much time. Yeah.
Yep, that's great. Thanks. Srikant, please go next.
Yeah, quick question. Great job, Siddharth, on this one. It's quick. So, what is the size of the DB? So you said 100 rows or around
Yeah,
that. Is there a
pretty
limitation on that one?
No, as of now, I haven't tested the size of it that much, but it has about like 1,500 items in there.
So what if we actually connect this to a larger database? Would RAG embed all that into a vector DB? Is there a size limitation there to put it in
But
memory?
RAG is not storing the actual data. RAG is just storing the schema. So it should be fine. So if it stores entire data, that would be problematic. But all it's doing is just storing the schema along with the sample queries and their relationships. That's about it. So it's plain text, so RAG can store pretty large. It's based on your size of the system and also how complicated the relationship between each database and all. So yeah, it should be able to handle
once
it.
it prepares the SQL query, that's when it goes to the database and queries that and gets the
Exactly.
results back. Okay, sounds
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To stick to the schedule, we'll take 1 more question and the rest can be posted in the chat. Harpreet, please go next.
Thanks, Ali. Siddharth, this is great presentation. I have 2 quick questions. The chat memory manager which you mentioned, is it like a hand-coded thing or is it some library that
it's LangChain. I've been digging much into LangChain and trying to see what are the features that they have.
Okay, so LangChain's library of saving the chat history. Okay, got it. So the other one is, does it have, since it's chat memory, can you do a follow-up question saying that once it returns the results, you say that give me the details of California, let's say, right? So it understood that the last query was X, and now I have to just do additional clauses on it.
Yeah. So I think there should be a question similar to that, but
yeah, that's okay. You can let me know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it should be able to. It has a context memory as well.
Okay.
It should be able to fetch that information for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, team. We'll go to the next project, Agentic AI Carrier Assistant.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So, so basically it's a prototype, and what my idea is like, I'm using a RAG system, and what it does is like it reads any resume as an input. It will basically chunk the resume and convert it to a vector DB using the Face API, and then using the conversational retrieval chain, basically it will help to analyze your resume and auto summarize it. And once basically from the resume, you can get your key skills, the top 10 or 7, 8 skills that basically I want to find my job on. And then the next step is it talks to a real jobs API portal called Remotive. And once it does that, basically it, based on my skill set, the 7, 8 skills that we've determined, it goes and it queries the Remotive API, and it will find at least like, it finds a bunch of jobs, but right now limited to like top 5 jobs. And once it does that, it will return me the response, and then I draft an email saying that this is the basically the URL, the company name, and based on my skill set, it helps me to, using the LLM, I draft an email for an application to the company. So that's the idea. Like, this is just an initial prototype, and the next steps would be to take it to a commercial level, to deploy it on a AWS ECS instance. Then I want to integrate it with a more number of APIs like LinkedIn, Indeed, Greenhouse, so that basically the idea is like, I give it, feed my resume, go grab my coffee. It should go and automatically fetch me the jobs based on my skill sets, and it automatically goes and downloads. Right now it's downloading the content, but eventually I want to take it so that it can directly email those companies or the recruiters. So for that, I would probably need a OAuth-based authentication for these various sites. Then I want to train this so that it becomes a personal AI recruiter with different preferences that I have. Maybe I have different kinds of skill sets, and I want to make sure if I want to apply to different companies based on those skill sets. So match the skill set with the company names and then apply instead of going to regular job portal. And plus I want to even have like a chat system wherein I can directly ask questions and say that find me a staff engineer role at Qualcomm, saying paying like 180K plus. So based on the salary range, I want to find jobs. Automate emails, I spoke already. Then I want to also do like, it should be like a smart salary negotiator. So based on levels.fyi, it can grab that information of what job I've applied for. And if I secure the job, then basically it should be able to suggest me what kind of salary negotiation I can do without me doing actual research and going on the web. So the agent should be able to handle all these things. Then next is like to make it commercial, obviously I have to train it for hundreds and thousands of resumes. And eventually I would like to like track the jobs viewed and how many people applied and what was the interview conversation rate. And then also from the resume, the agent should be able to identify any skills gap and suggest any trainings for that particular resume. Then eventually the portal can also have like an affiliate marketplace wherein I can partner with like different agencies, like say Byte.go, which already has an interview course. So based on your resume and skills, it can find some courses and also recommend certain number of courses. So it can be a recommendation system as well. And eventually the interview preparation. So right now this is running on my local machine. I can just show the UI directly, I think. It's a little bit slow, but because it's running on my local machine, but eventually, like I'll be able to feed my resume and run it. I should have rather shown you guys. But this will take a while, so I can take questions. And also I've tried to put it on, I was trying this, the Google Colab. So it works over here on the Google Colab. Basically, it takes the resume input. It uses the, whatever, I think I've taken some pieces of code from Ali's tutorials or whatever he had shared. I try to reuse that and repurpose that. I'm using here Google Gemma 2 billion instruction model as the initial model. So I'm loading the model, then I'm basically using certain keywords to find the designation, how to summarize my resume. So it's basically giving me this output in 8 to 10 sentences. What is the resume? What is my designation? And then it's querying the technologies that I'm interested in. I mean, this is the sample, like I'm trying to give the prompt. And then it's retrieving me the top skills along with the designation that I'm interested in. And then this will go and query the Remotive API. It fetches me these bunch of jobs, whatever it matches my skill sets. And then I'm summarizing it this way, like based on what I want, like the job name, the company name, and the URL. If I want to go and check the details of the job, it can show me that. Eventually, I'm trying to draft an email saying with the use of LLM, and this automatically drafts me an email and gives me. And last not but least, yeah, this is the application for different jobs, and I'm able to create a folder, store all these jobs in a text format, and I can just copy paste and send emails out if I want to. One challenge I faced is like I was trying to make it agentic AI using tools that Ali had shared. So I used I tried different modules like Gemma, different kinds of like models I tried to use, but however, I'm facing an issue out of memory. So when the model tries to think and fetch the data, it eventually goes out of memory. So that's one issue I'm facing with if I'm trying to use a tool and use an agentic AI based approach. So that's why I moved to this RAG based approach and it worked fine, like for me. It's still running, but any questions? Like, hello?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
It's really great.
It's a very simple idea, but yeah, go ahead.
No, that's awesome. I mean, a lot of issues that you faced, so that you had to switch to different things, those are like pretty normal. So that's basically the
I learned a lot actually.
yeah.
At least I faced like a lot of issues, so that's the reason. I mean,
welcome to real world. So, all right. So we have one question. Please go ahead.
Hi, it's me again. Again, great job. Just one quick question about sending the emails automatically. I know that is a good idea, like matching and finding the company and then sending it without the person knowing it. That can be a little bit risky.
Right. So right now, that's the reason I'm not sending an email. Right now, I'm just downloading everything, what the recommendation is. Then manually, I'll go across it and then basically I'll email it. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Probably I'll think about it more, maybe.
Right, yeah. I mean, for you, and when you kind of, if you make it as a commercial thing or you just give it to other people, then it's kind of okay. All right, thank you. Other than good job. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Give some output.
Oh, the output came out.
Oh yeah, it's coming. Yeah, it keeps coming. Yeah.
Okay,
Since
that's
it's my
awesome.
local machines, takes time.
Oh yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever I showed you here, yeah, the same output. Basically, it will give us like it'll create all this, the designation, the key skills. It'll go match it. Um, it'll fetch these jobs. So the same output is shown on the UI as well. And then this is the sample draft email. And these are the applications that it stored for me locally.
Yeah, great. Awesome work. Please, if you have feedback, folks share in the chat for this project. And we can move to the next one, financial agent. Okay, that was a welcome kind of.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Ali. Okay, so just one quick disclaimer. I am in San Ramon and we are getting hit by earthquake. So if you see me running, that's the reason. But let me start. So before I start, I just want to say this presentation isn't just about what I built during the course, but also what I learned along the way. And I'll be sharing both the project itself and the key lessons that came out of the whole process. So let me share my screen quickly. Come on. Okay, I'll just be back 1 second. I need to restart.
It's still seeing the Prathamesh share screen. There you go. Thank you.
Okay. You can see my screen, right?
I can't see it. It's loading right
Yeah.
now, but I can see your screen. Yes.
Okay. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, basically I built this 10K IQ. It's basically AI-powered financial analysis with citations. And why did I build it? This is basically a report that I read which said that 47% of US adults use ChatGPT for stock advice. And as we know, all LLMs would hallucinate at some point, right? And at times you would not see citations, you will see outdated data, and so on. So if we give our LLM very specific financial information and ground that as a truth, that gives more relevant information. And that's the reason behind this project. So what I built was 10K IQ, and this is a simple chat interface. And let me open this debug log so that it's easy. So I can ask any questions about what is Apple's revenue. And what this does is goes through multiple phases. So it will go through a planning phase, then we'll go and search the chunked data and then give it to the LLM. Now, and it will also keep on telling you, okay, how much time each step took, and so that you know what's happening. And since it's more of a learning experience, I have also put all of these thinking process that's happening in the logs out here. So you can actually see what's happening. So for example, here I give the query, it's going to do a pre-processing step on the query. And once the pre-processing step is done, it's going to say, hey, do I need to download data for this? If it's already there, then it will go create a embedding for the query, because all the chunks are stored in a vector database with the specific embedding itself. Oh, it's actually downloading everything. And you cannot do a vector database lookup if you do not have the same embedding. You see here, it is actually embedding all the chunks and stuff like that, right? So once it does, then it goes and sends those chunks to the LLM to ground that query from. So if you look at here, it's gonna say, I'm just pause this for a second. Here it says, as of September 28, 2024, this is what it was, and then it will say that, okay, these are the citations that out of the 10K filing on item 8, this is what the revenue is there. And it also gives the confidence score for each of it. So you know that, okay, if the confidence score is less, that means the chance of it being correct is less, right? And we have, I've set up the confidence score as 50. That means return me chunks all where the confidence score is more than 50%. And this is helpful. So this was the very basic thing that I built initially. And if I go back, I want to test the whole pipeline, right? So a basic user query, do a single RAG agent, which goes, downloads and embeds it, adds the search query, and then generates output. And in the output, you'll see the response and the citations. And initially, I had the debug panel, but being version 1, it was very limited. So it did not have conversation memory. So if I go and now ask, hey, how much was the iPhone revenue? It would not understand that I'm asking about Apple, right? And everything was done by a single agent itself. So obviously it's not a multi-agent. The output was just text. And my stack was simple: fast API, Quadrant as the vector database in the background, and Olama was the tool that I was using for hosting all my LLMs, right? And the model was Llama 3.1 8B that is hosted, but on my local machine, it was 3B. Obviously, my local machine is not that strong. And the embedding model I used was Nomic Embed Text. So all this was good as first version, but to make it much more smarter, what I did was started giving it memory, right? And how do you give memory is I use LangGraph in the background, and LangGraph has a concept called as checkpointing. And when you give checkpointing, it stores every stage of the graph. Now, to give you a little bit more context, so if I take this query and give it to ChatGPT. So I'm asking just do 10K filing, don't do a web search. And what it does is it will go and look at 2024 10K filing when there's a 2025 filing also. So it's a little outdated, but what you would want is the latest information. So that's the nuance by using a generic LLM versus a specific RAG tuned LLM. Now, if we come back to this, and now if I have to give a follow-up question, how much was iPhone memory? Sorry, iPhone revenue. Now it knows that I'm talking about Apple, and it's going to look at those things. Now, with checkpointing, what also enables us to create multiple chat sessions, right? So I could here go and say that, who is the CEO of Microsoft? And now this is a separate session that is going on in the whole LLM pipeline and at the model end, because it has a session ID and a thread ID associated with it. And this is a separate one that's going on. So that was a big learning and improvement that I had to work on, which was interesting. So I'm just going to close this guy. Now that simple architecture actually evolved into this thing, right? So now I have a lead agent, which actually takes the first query and then says that what work needs to be done. Based on what work, it knows what tools I have available to do that work, and then it gives it to those tools. So I'll come to what deterministic is. And that tool is the planner and the RAG agent, which does the planning of what needs to be done, and the RAG agent to actually go get data from vector and give it to the LLM. And finally, then there's a synthesizer agent, which actually takes the output from the LLM and creates it into a UI that can be given to the front end. And obviously I use the line graph check pointer, which stores directly into Postgres SQL, the whole conversation memory. And data layer, we have got Postgres SQL, which stores the metadata of all the 10K filings that we download. The quadrant vector DB, which uses 768 dimension encoding methods that we have. Initially, I started with 384, but since I got a more powerful GPU, I could go higher so that the performance of the semantic matches is much better. And Olama is 3.18B. So if I have to walk through the sequence of how things flows, okay, this is how things work. So you have the user who says, what is the Apple's revenue? What it does is takes the session ID from local storage if it's a follow-up question. Otherwise, it will create a session ID, send it to the backend. Here, there is a singleton check pointer, which will go get the state of the line graph for this specific chat session, right? And it will load everything, and that is used for future context. Now, the next step it does is goes to the planner and says that, hey, let's plan what the query needs to do, or what the whole pipeline has to do. Once we get the plan, what we do is execute the actual RAG search. That means do a vector search where you give the metadata as Apple and certain other metadata on what sections to look for. And I'll go through that. And top K, how many chunks we want and what confidence score we have. Once we have that, you take the content chunks and give it to the LLM to generate the content. This is where we are hitting the LLM model, right? You give whole chunk, you give the system prompt, you give the user prompt, and it will give you, we're already out of time. So it will give the formatted answer, and then it saves the checkpoint. And that's how this flow goes. There is more detailed architecture on the whole pipeline, but I'll skip that because we're running out of time. I'll now brush through things quickly. Yeah, so why this stack? Local LM, Olama, it gives you privacy control because you can store a lot of user information later on in this. I don't have to worry about the token cost. It's a self-hosted infrastructure and it will give me predictable performance. PostgreSQL and Quadrant, metadata and vector, both is what I can store. I can store the checkpointing conversation out here, and vector search is very, very fast. So that's why Quadrant out here. LangGraph, it is production-ready patterns. I evaluated LangChain versus LangGraph, and for the use case, LangGraph stood out because it would give me different states of a graph and a lot of forking that would be required. It has built-in checkpointing, so I don't have to worry about saving the state. Async architecture, you could run multiple agents at the same time. So that's very helpful. And it has state management. Yeah, the key principle was to build to learn, not just to deploy. And that's why I went with self-hosting so that I could learn much more nuances that come up. Otherwise, I would not have learned. Couple of other things that came up. I'm running out of time, otherwise I would demo that. I could do a multi-company search also. Tell me what is the risk and revenue of Apple versus Amazon, and it will do a comparison of it. When I try to do this use case, the first thing was my LLM did not, my pipeline did not work because I said, give me 5 chunks. and it would always give Apple chunks, but not Microsoft chunks. And so it would skew the results. The first instinct is let's re-architect so that Microsoft also I could do multi-agent and get the information. But it's basically, if you just update a little bit of data structure, I could just convert the list to a dictionary and I could get separate chunks for Apple and Microsoft. And this kind of works pretty seamlessly. So one thing I learned, simplicity wins. Data structure improvements is better than changing the architecture at any given point.
So I think I have to interrupt. I didn't want to because it's so amazing and it's so impressive, especially the fact that you've been managing to do this within a short time. And it's almost production ready, I would say, in my opinion, and the fact that you've been able to do multiple iterations. So yes, but just to stick to the timeline,
Okay.
let's thank you so much for the presentation and let's take questions. Peter?
I just have two
Yeah,
small things. There's lot of other things I wanted to show, but what I'll just want to show is two things. So yeah, this is where I got the GPUs and stuff. But yeah, so I've got a feature ideas. So this is a Google Sheet which is open. So if anybody would like to see what next features I built, because every feature I built, I'm going to share what learnings I have. Everybody's free to add to this. And yeah, that's the one thing that I wanted to kind of bring up quickly. Yeah, I'm open to questions.
Thank you. Peter, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's very impressive, and I'm impressed that you bought the domain. Are you planning on putting it up in cloud or just running locally for yourself?
Yeah, so this is not local. Everything is on the cloud. So if you hit 10K IQ, you should be able to see this website, everything. You should be able to work on it. If I'm here, so this 10K IQ is actually hosted on these GPU. So once
Oh, I
again,
see.
yeah, so
I
it's
see.
hosted. So anybody can go hit it. Yeah, only thing is, since it's a single GPU, you might not get awesome performance, but that's one of the next things that I have listed here that I want to work on is work on inference. That's a learning that I have to work on.
Very impressive for actually deploying it.
Thank you. Yeah, just look at Vast AI. It is, this is the GPU that I'm using called Pro 4000, and it has decent amount of memory and stuff. So you can always take a look at it.
Next question, Srikant.
Yeah, great presentation, Harpreet. Quick question. So on your RAG, right? How are you training your RAG? When where are you getting the RAG to convert all those into the vector database?
So that was one of the learning I couldn't touch on is I do a offline processing. So I have only list of 5 companies that you can ask questions on. So I go and pre-fetch the 10K from the Security Edgar website. I break those into chunks. Those chunks are then embedded using the embedding model and then loaded into vector database. And that's the main part of it. The rest of it is just querying it, right? So if you look here, when you're querying it, here is what it does. You find embedding one text. This is the query that the user entered. You embed it using that same embedding model, and then you just query it. And the vector database is very fast because I'm doing a metadata search also, which reduces the space lot. So it's literally on my laptop, it's within 1 second. So that's how I'm doing a semantic search.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. It was super awesome and impressive.
Thank you.
We'll go to the next project. And the title is Customer Service Bot.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So what I have is a customer service bot, and it's for a fictitious massage company, massage clinic. And the company, one of the channels by which the company talks to its customers is through Telegram. So what you're seeing on the left-hand side is a Telegram chat that the customers will use to talk to the clinic. And what you're seeing on the left-hand side is the admin UI used by the staff of the massage parlor, right? So we can initiate a chat, and you get a response back, hopefully. Yeah. So and let's say, oops, I want to book a massage. Right. And on this side, you should be able to see it. So I am streaming the messages. So as in when the customer and the LLM interact on the Telegram side, you should be able to see the options here. So what I'm showing you now is the RAG part of the project. So let's ask another question. And the LLM would answer. Okay, so I like this one. I'd like to book it. Yes. So now you see the agentic part of it. So I do have an agent layer, which if the request from the customer is for booking, cancellation, or rescheduling, it tries to do that in an automated way. So let's see if it can do. And I'm putting this particular date because I do have a conflicting booking for this date and time, so it should not allow it. So we can check that. Yeah, so it got that. So this time it should go through. It did. And if you refresh, you'll see that the booking has happened, right? So some more questions. So all this is coming from the RAG, the information that we fed. And I'm going to ask a question that I didn't feed it. So to see if the LLM hallucinates or is able to give the right information. So I'll ask, yeah, so it did not make it up and gave the right information. So that's my project. It's a pretty simple, I basically tried to implement week 2 and week 3 of the project. So there's a RAG, there's an agentic layer here, and the rest is just web development. So open to any questions.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Anand. This is great. Any questions? Sandeep, please go ahead.
Hey, Anand, thanks for the presentation. It was really nice. So here, right, I just want to understand the RAG piece, how you have made use of it.
Sure. So the indexing part was done offline. So I created some fake data, and then I used some Jupyter notebooks to have the indexing part done. And the retriever and the generation is part of my backend. So I'm exposing it through a service. It's a function call. And in the agentic layer, RAG is one function that one tool that the agent can use. So indexing is offline. What else? I'm using VV8 as the vector store for this because I wanted to do hybrid search and because it offers, as Harpreet said, metadata filtering by default. So that's why I chose VV8 for this.
Thanks, Anand.
Sure.
Question. Any other questions?
I have a question regarding how are you integrating with the calendar? And is that agent has a tool integration to handle the calendar?
Did you say calendar?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I did was my backend uses a Postgres database. And for every clinic, I have a table with its business operating hours. So which day, which hours are operating hours. And then in the booking flow, the agent also checks this against this table to see whether it's allowed to have a booking for that particular duration. And then makes the booking that way and also saves the information to the table. So it's basically querying against that table to know if it's allowed to have an appointment for a particular date and time. Does that answer your question?
I see. Yeah. That's a clever way of doing it. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, so we can move to the next project. All the projects are quite amazing. Each of the projects are quite surprising in a positive way. Thank you so much, Anand. I love the iPhone simulation on the screen. So that was pretty cool.
Thank you.
Next project is AI photography coach.
Hello, everyone. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see and hear you.
Can you? Hi. Sorry, it's night time in Frankfurt, so my lighting is a little bit off. So talking about photography, I can share my screen now, Ali. Yeah.
Sure, please share your screen.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can see now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Again, sorry, I shouldn't have started with the problem, at least. So just to talk about the problem, this is a very peculiar topic. Again, it's something very close to my heart, photography. And I was recently picked it up and I was trying some resources online and of course, the AI, generative AI tools. But what I felt was, of course, there may be such tool that already exist, but basically learning photography is overwhelming. You need some kind of grounded information from the LLMs, which is not hallucinated. So that was kind of the motivation that led me to the thought process that maybe if we can develop a kind of a photography specific RAG based implementation for this learning experience, which provides first a Q&A kind of through verified resources, which has grounded. which is basically you would harness the data for all the photography resources. You can scale it, but in my case, I will show you how many PDFs I have basically compiled. So that becomes your grounded source of information for the recommendations and Q&A. So avoiding hallucinations. And then the second feature that I actually added today, I was not planning to do it today, but somehow I made it work, was the chain of thought. Basically how you can instruct the LLM instead of getting a very powerful LLM, but through smart prompting and chain of thought prompting, to make it respond in a particular manner and also think in a particular manner through chain of thought, through kind of guided steps. So that makes the LLM return a curated response. And then again, I will show you the temperature settings, which I varied for both cases. For Q&A, what was the temperature for the LLM versus for the creative. So that shows you kind of the difference. And then this is the overall architecture. I didn't do a fancy diagram like Harpreet and everyone, but I hope this gets the gist. So the idea is basically you first, there is an offline process to ingestion. You compile all this PDF, feed it to the like create a kind of face data vector data store out of them and through the embeddings, etc. And then the semantic search happens from face vector database based on the embeddings and the prompt, which gets converted into the embedding, and face creates a context and the prompt for the LLM, and then LLM basically kind of generates the response. And this is all through orchestrated through the LangChain, and then the output is basically verified. So these are two tabs. I will, without further ado, this is the whole idea. And then I will not go through all this, just switching back to so I already loaded the site because it takes time, and I'm sorry, I'm using my poor old MacBook Air. I tried the GPU thing in Colab, but I was out of luck, so I have to now run it locally. So this is a tiny Llama LLM I'm using. It's local, so there is no API, nothing. It is all running on CPU, so bear with me. So as you can see, the UI is pretty crude. It's not that fancy, but the idea is to show what I learned basically and what concept I'm using. Like for example, lesson 2, the RAG, and then also the chain of thought reasoning from lesson 4, and of course the lesson 1, which taught us to play with LLM and how to use LLM kind of chat completions, right? So that is the idea. And then this is the first step. This is the Q&A, which I was talking about, where you compile all the PDFs into the vector data store, and then the face will make the semantic search and get the response. There are some pre-built kind of example questions I have, like for example, rule of thirds. So what is a rule of third? How do I use a rule of third? Let's see now. So now what happens, so bear with me for some seconds, I will say. So what is happening in the background is you already have this vector database ready. Now you gave the prompt, which again gets converted into the embeddings, and then face creates this context, right, for the LLM based on the documents it finds out, right? Based on the documents for what question you are asking, it will find out the 3 kind of top documents that will get fed into the context along with the prompt, and then the LLM will start generating. So that's the idea. Meanwhile, it is running. I also have a video captured of the whole process. So in case you don't trust me that it runs, so I can also share the videos later. But in code, if you see, basically these are the 2 parts what I was talking about here. The ingest, you first create the vector database. This is the one-time offline process. You prepared, you primed your data, everything, and then this is basically the so you load the system. These are the embeddings, right? And then basically this is the check for the context is valid or not. And then the response is basically you prepare the context from the retriever, right? Whatever documents you retrieve, and then you create the prompt for the LLM, and they append the context which you got here. And then basically I'm using a tiny Llama model, which is hardly 670 MB or something. So now, as you can see, it got you an answer in summary, to use the rule of third, blah, blah, blah. And then it also lists down the resources. So these are the resources which basically are stored in this folder, and it actually quotes basically what line. So all this you get from the LLM, right? The context, everything. So then I'm showing it here. So this is the first part. Let's clear this up. And then the second part is more about creative, like it's more creative aspect. So here, I'm telling the LLM that you are basically a creative art director, photography director, and you have to suggest someone a short list, like if they want to do a shot. So how will you compile this kind of shot? So I created a chain of thought prompt for the LLM, and let's try something which I already have, like urban night. So for example, Tokyo urban street photography in Tokyo, and I want the LLM to tell me what will be my kind of shot criteria. So there are certain, so let me show you behind the scenes what is happening is, so this is the chain of thought reasoning. So this is the template that you are a creative photography director. This is the thing that triggers the chain of thought, right? Let's think through this step by step. I want the mood and tone for short one, which can be a wide and angle establishing, then medium action. Then I also want like that the finally a hero shot. So this is like basically makes the LLM think in a creative way. And now if you see, I increase the kind of temperature because we want a more creative answer versus a very rigid grounded answer as in our previous case. Sorry, it is still running because so I think the idea is basically to guide the LLM in a way through your prompt to think like the name itself suggests, chain of thoughts, right? So it is thinking. Yeah, it's running locally. So sorry, I tried on the Collab notebook also, but then I was getting very close to the presentation, so I stopped. So, but I think the future goal is, meanwhile it is happening, I've also wanted to talk about the future. So again, this is like came out of a hobby and interest, but maybe I think the next step for me, I think I forgot the slide here. Okay. Anyways, please feel free to explore the GitHub and the repo. The goal, I think the future perspective is that maybe I can add some kind of a vision based model like Lava or Gemini, where you can upload the photo and it will actually, you can train the model that can you interpret the image and provide your feedback. So that is one use case. Okay, now it came back. So as you can see, it created this curated response based on your chain of thought prompt, right? I want you to respond in this way. So it is saying in the first shot, choose a wide angle to emphasize the urban setting. Our theme was, I want urban street photography in Tokyo. Uses a softly lit subject, shot one, shot two. So it gives you a very kind of a curated response. I also kind of added this in just bells and whistles, nothing to do with LLM, but you can download it and then you can play around with extra themes. So yeah, this is the kind of MVP, or I will say the Capstone project, but the goal is to scale it further. And again, it is domain agnostic. You can also use it for other domains. I think the idea is that RAG helps you ground your findings, and then chain of thought makes it more creative like the LLM. So I can also, like, this is the data I was talking about. These are all the PDFs I have compiled and kept, and then this is the face index which was created. Yeah, I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it interesting. And thank you so much for being patient and listening.
Thank you so much for the presentation, Prasad. It was amazing. You mentioned about you created a video. If we don't trust, how do we know that the video is not AI generated?
That I think then you have to prove it. I think maybe you can come up with a tool to inspect. Yeah, I think there are tools.
Yeah.
But I actually did a screencast and it is in a WebPM format, but I can convert to MP4.
All right. Yeah. But yeah, amazing work. We can take questions and please share your feedbacks in the chat. Aiki?
Hey, hi, Prasad. Everyone has great work, so including you. My couple of comments. One comment is I see huge potential because I am a creative person myself. I do not want to use anything outside of my laptop to even ideation, because as creator, we are pretty sensitive to what we have. So, and a second one is potential feature add in the future. I also want to learn photography, but it's just a daunting thing. It will be great with the suggestion you have in text format. It will be good to have examples on what it would look like.
Sure.
That is very that is up the notch because it will involve imaging. It may involve GPU, and we want to keep it local on our machine. Just something to think about.
Yeah, and that's a very valuable suggestion. Thank you so much. And other feature I also wanted to was thinking about is that basically the LLM can become a text to image generation. For example, it can say that for example, you can try this composition and it will spit out an image, right? So that is another kind of feature. But again, I'm thinking way too ahead, one step at a time. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I will keep the GitHub open. Please submit your feature request. I will create a feature request there. So please do feel free to explore. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, hi.
Hello.
Yeah, you called me, right?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah,
I
sure.
thought your hand was raised.
Oh, yeah, sure. So, Prasad, great job. So you mentioned all these PDFs. So I didn't get, how are you adding them to some database or you're doing something? I didn't get
No, actually, so this is the setup. So I created this, set up for my project. So I have a folder like, so what I did, I basically these are all like free and available publicly, so no license was infringed. So this is all free PDFs I downloaded, and what I did, I basically like compiled them into my data folder, and then I created this ingest file, right? What we learned in the RAG lesson, you basically feed all these PDFs, and then it created the index, right? And the fast and the index. So basically based on this PDFs. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, there is no database as such. The only database that exists is this fast, the vector database, which is essentially the embeddings.
Okay, great. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, even a start, like I'm pretty beginner, but even something small like you could make or somebody could make that gives us some ideas of how to start. So it's really valuable. Appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sonia. And I also learned so much from everyone else. Like, yeah, true. Thank you.
Great. Thanks again, Prasad. Very impressive. Yeah, looking forward to see your video.
Thank you. I'm on it. Okay.
Perfect. We can move to the next project, compliance officer.
Thanks, Ali. I will share the screen. Pretty simple project after the bar setting presentations by all of you. Congratulations. I mean, I did enjoy your presentations a lot so far. Let me share the screen. Okay. Oh, I have to share the whole screen. I was wondering if I could share just the application. Okay, I'll just share the desktop. Looks like I will have to quit and reopen. Just a second. If I'm dropped off, please continue with the next presentation and I will join again.
Maybe we can wait like 10 or 15 seconds. And then if he's not back, we can go to the next project. All right, so just to save time, we can go to the next project and then we can come back to the compliance officer. So the next project is SQL query generator, order management agent.
Yeah, hi, this is Chetan. Let me can see me now, and let me share my screen. You guys can see my screen, right?
I still cannot see the screen.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now you should be able to see it. Can you see it now?
No, something appeared for a second about you sharing your screen, but then it disappeared. At least on my side, I cannot see anything.
Okay, how
now
about now?
I can see it.
All right, okay. So yeah, my presentation doesn't have a UI, so I guess I have to think about how I can do that part of it. So let me just begin with. So the first one, I basically have two small demos, essentially, and the first one is a RAG, which is same as Siddharth. He did the with, of course, with the UI and stuff. So that one was much better. So mine is right now just a a database query RAG based, and all it does is you in a natural language you ask a question and it comes back with a response. Now I have not thought about whether I take it in the direction of just as a data analyst kind of a tool, or should it become more like a database administrator tool, which basically a database administrator can do much more destructive work or create, make some major changes to the data. So I haven't thought about it, but right now it can do everything. So it's not grounded to just querying, but it can do changes to the database as well. And as far as just the flow wise, you have a natural language question, goes to the LLM, it comes back with it goes to my local Olama, and it's just to get the embeddings. So this first time it's going to the Olama and get the embedding back from it, and then it is using those embedding to query the database. My vector DB is PostgreSQL, so it's PG vector, and it's going to get the chunks back, from the database, and then I'm using Gemini to generate a SQL, and then the SQL is what the LLM returns back a SQL command, and then that SQL gets executed against the database, and then the result is essentially send it back to the user. So this is I don't have a UI, so I'm just doing it on the background, and so I started off with selecting a provider. And I can ask a RAG question, which I kind of prepared a little more complex question. Yeah, something like this. So it's more like a calculate the lifetime value. So it's more very English, very business analyst kind of a question. Find the 95th percentile for the lifetime value customer and return their IDs, lifetime value, and the loyalty tier. So something like that will be the question. And yeah, it's going to show me the SQL it's going to generate. And so basically this is the SQL which got converted into it, and then it returns me the customer ID, all this stuff. So this was a simple RAG solution. And then the second one I have is for an order management. And this is basically I have 3 layers. So I have the fast API to query an order management kind of an application which has order, product, shipment, and all that information. Then the MCP is sitting on top of the API API layer. So the MCP is essentially all the APIs are exposed through the MCP server, and then the agent is talking to the MCP server. So if I just show this flow, I guess it's not that good here. You guys can't see it clearly, right?
Yeah, it looks clear on my side.
Okay. Yeah.
The text is not super clear though, but
Yeah.
I guess you can read over them.
Okay. So yeah, I think this one is, the agent talking to the MCP talking to the API, and then agent, of course, talking to the LLM. So I think this is not worth looking at right now. It's too much to, look at it. I thought it was much better view. So I'll just give the demo for this one. And for this one, I essentially, this is, I'm trying to use the MCP in this demo. And so I can, it's something, if it has a front end to it, it can be used more not like a end customer, but think of it as a call center agent person itself using to interact with the backend applications. I mean, in real scenario, the call center agents have to place the order for the customer. So the customer calls, the call center agent takes the call and, helping the customer. So all that thing, the call center agent has to do 5 different things. And by providing them an agentic, approach to it, they can interact and get the customer queries resolved much easier. So, I mean, this one, I can just ask it to show me all the starting. I guess I can just see this way. Oops. It didn't find me. It didn't go to the agent. That is flop show. Let me see the database. Okay. Something is not right. Okay, I need to look into it. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. And it's quite normal. I mean, there is always something that is not right, even in production ready system. So yeah.
Okay, just talking to the API. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's all I can do right now. I mean, I think it did find the order. It just didn't convert into the, yeah, I did find the order without a response or tool. Yeah, I don't think something is right with it. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. I was in an almost similar situation last Saturday. Image model was not being loaded. So.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, I just wanted to show how the RAG database looks like. So basically, these are the vectors for each. And in the RAG database, all I have done is saved all the table schema. So the create table information is all in the database. And that is good enough for it to. And this one was for the RAG. For the second demo for the MCP, I'm not using RAG. It's just a MCP server sitting on top of the API server. So that's all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tan. That's awesome,
Yeah.
especially the fact that you had both like SQL and then the the MCP. So it's definitely a lot of work. We can take questions and please share feedbacks in the chat if you have. We'll start with Sudhir. Sudhir, do you want to go ahead? We cannot hear you. Sudhir, do you want to?
Now?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Right, sorry, quick question. For the schema, did you input it in the prompt or did you automatically get it?
So, yeah, for what I did is, I mean, everything, of course, it's one time. The schema is already there. I mean, for all the databases, I have the schemas. And all I did is uploaded the schema into the, the vector DB. So it takes the whole SQL schema file. It's one file with all the tables, and it puts it into the database as I was showing, with each table going into as one row. So when the vector, once I query using the embeddings, it comes back with, depends on how many chunks I want, it will return me multiple. So if I have a joint query, if it is across customer and say address, then it's going to return both these, table structure. And so that table structure can then be fetched, to send to the LLM to generate the query, the SQL query. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Chetan. It was awesome presentation. We'll go back to the previous project, compliance officer.
Thanks, and sorry about the technical issue. Looks like, I mean, I hadn't used Zoom from this machine before. Anyways, back to it. Let me share the screen. So I just briefly wanted to speak about the goals for me. Basically, I wanted to ensure there is a professional development environment similar to what I'm seeing at the workplace the AI engineers are using essentially. So one of the goals was to set up that playground, a playground which has some measurements in place as well, where once I build the initial core of my workflow, I can use the measurements, the evaluation criteria to improve the AI and ML performance. And I also wanted a similar kind of development environment, Visual Studio code based, which is reliable and always available and not too costly as well. So that's that. And the problem statement is closer to our hearts. It's the compliance, actually. We see all these cookies, newer compliance coming into place, GDPR, California Data Protection Act, PHI, PII, and all of those. So basically, at the crux of that problem is to really detect attributes protected by all these different compliance regulations. And then once they are detected, basically you could also detect the domain and you could combine the two. And then you could see, hey, there is health data and there is diagnostic. So it has to be PHI protected data, protected health information, something like that. So in order to actually make progress on that, I have a very simple, actually evolvable framework in place. So Visual Studio Code and I'm connected to a VM, which I have set up in GCP using their SSH plugin, essentially. I'm using Ollama to host some models. And then the goal here is to kind of compare performances of various models. The prompt, whatever the prompt is, actually identify the score of that. So in order to actually begin the explorations, I implemented a simple command line tool. Basically, let me make sure I have a model. This is a Phi-4 model built by Microsoft. It is a pretty amazing model, actually. If you want to self-host something in the cloud. I have passed a simple text prompt here that has first name, date of birth, email address, and address here, stated address, and it should detect that. Since there is no health information here, it returned general as the context, and protected attributes are full name, email, and address, essentially. So yeah, it did not detect date of birth in this particular case, but it has correctly detected the context. Now let us try to change the model. So this was Phi. Let's move to Gamma. And again, the same prompt. Let's see what it comes back with. In this particular case, it somehow identified health, which is not true, but it was able to identify the attributes as well. Basically, long story short, different models can come up with a different result, essentially. Phi is a very large model. The one that I have chosen is 14 billion. It's quantized, but then the other model is much smaller in comparison, right? So how do I go about systematically evaluating these models so that I can be confident that the results are pretty good, are production ready, right? That's the problem statement. So in order to achieve that, I mean, I started putting together data. It's gathered from the net, some from already existing products. They expose some data sets. They have some positive and negative data sets here, essentially. Positive would be protected data set, negative would be not, essentially. And I kind of digested that data into a labeled data set, essentially, which has the text content, location, and all that. It's a simple CSV file. Started off with an initial prompt, actually, and then this particular utility, I mean, I have a evaluate script, which I could run against all that data set. Let me quickly run that here. And it's going to take some time. So we will let it take the time. It's going to go through 50 odd data sets, not many samples, 50 odd data sets for both the models, essentially. While it is going through this, let me also speak about some of the issues that I ran in. Initially, I started with a simple graph implementation, which would return these couple of attributes. And what I found out was every model would return the response in different formats. And I thought that the parsing code, it started to become too complex as well. This is certainly not production ready maintainable code. So I wanted to find something better. Industry standard practices make sure the output is very structured. Fortunately, Ollama, the engine that I'm using here to host the models, it does have a mode that supports specifying schema. And then that helped a lot with some tinkering around. I was able to get this to work, essentially. And it's finally started to return the data in a nicely formatted JSON format. The JSON format is given by object here, basically, which, and then this is the format the model returns the data in, right? So that is that. It will take few more seconds to go through it. Prompt, as far as putting together a prompt, I started with ChatGPT. It helped me put together a nicer prompt to begin with. And then I played around to tinker the roles. Of course, I mean, actually, you have to know what you want as well to control the output of any automatically generated AI. So this prompt has gone through some iterations as well. It has several component system, then assistant and human template. So initially this prompt could be gigantic. I would want to somehow ensure, although I appended the test data to it, the prompt doesn't exceed the context window of the model. So that's going to be an interesting challenge to solve as well. And while doing that, I would want to make sure the accuracy still remains essentially. Right. So that's that. Another way of making sure the accuracy is there is really to use this prompt against larger models that have larger context window, ensure and generate some sort of few short examples of data and outputs, and then perhaps fine tune a model. Basically, that's also something I'm thinking about essentially. Right. So that's that. The script is completed. Let us look at the result. Result is basically similar to the label data set. It has some columns from that. The label data set tells me whether this data is supposed to be protected or not. And then every model's output is attached as additional columns into this CSV. The fee model, as you can see, it has performed reasonably. By the way, I have simplified this evaluation criteria just to a single Boolean instead of evaluating on each and every attribute, which is next step, and on evaluating on the domain as well. I'm just distilling down to whether it is supposed to be a protected file or not. And yeah, so that is done. And then after that, I'm just going to run another reporting CLI to calculate the metric that I was looking for. So let me run that. This should be pretty quick. And we should have a report now here. The report is very distilled, readable comparison of which model has performed better. So in this particular case, we see this F score actually. So F score is typically measured, I believe, in classification problems. And it can tell you it comes up with a score. The higher the score is better. So in this particular case, Gamma has performed marginally better than Phi I4. And I was surprised when I saw that essentially because Gamma is a much smaller model, basically as compared to this Phi model. I also measured the latency. So while running these command line tools, I realized that Ollama exposes a lot of additional metric, basically. Let us run this in verbose mode for more debug logging here. And then, so if you look at this, this is the response metadata returned by Ollama, and you would see there is total duration metric as well published there for this particular request, and which can be used to determine the latency metric as well. Looks like I'm out of time, but anyways, that's more or less done as well here. So the latency is 1.5 milliseconds for the larger model. The smaller model, as one would expect, has offered better latency, 1 second per request. Again, this should be improved. This could be improved. The F score, I would like to see it in the range of 0.9. That would be amazing, basically, because this is training data. In practice, it's going to take basically worse performance. And that's all I had. Any questions, anyone?
It was great. Thank you so much for the presentation. I learned a couple of things which I did not know before. So yeah, thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Any questions?
Hey, Sheetal Kumar, what would be the future for this project or the project? What do you have in mind for it? Where can this AI compliance officer be used? What is your
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So actually, I am part of data loss prevention domain. It's a domain that protects users' information essentially from leaking out. And then data loss prevention over the years has gone through several evolutions. Machine learning influenced data loss prevention a lot, and now there are opportunities for AI's influence as well, essentially. And AI can make DLP much more flexible. Here, whatever we have built, it's very, very simple when we look at it from AI's point of view. But from DLP's point of view, a lot of the functionality is available out of the box without even the developers coding for that functionality. That's the power of LLMs. So now if we could make that available to the customers who use DLP products or build out new products, essentially, it can solve a lot of existing problems. The challenge though is making AI practical for these enterprise applications. And for that, they have to perform really well in terms of accuracy and in terms of latency, because latency is where the majority of the cost is spent. And if the latency is high, we can't really afford to use AI. So the next immediate challenge for me is gonna be to improve both the accuracy and latency. And for that, and also as a person who wants to learn more, basically, I think there is an opportunity here to do prompt engineering, and after that, fine tuning even, basically.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so we covered all the projects that were marked yes. Just to make sure, is there anyone or any team that we're expecting to present and we did not cover yet?
Hey Ali, this is Banu. I had a POC to cover.
Sure. May I know which number it is?
31, I believe.
31. Anyone else that was expecting to present before 31?
So can you hear me? This is Sivaraja,
Yes, yes.
and I'm number 28. Me
Okay.
and Dan, we worked on a couple of projects, and finally we decided to present AI book discovery chat. If it is okay, we can.
Yeah, sure. I
do
think
that.
we can continue. The projects are really amazing and it's being recorded anyway. So for people who cannot continue to stay, feel free to drop if you have to. It's going to be recorded. But the projects are really interesting. So I think we can continue with these two additional projects that was marked yes later today. And we can go over those as well. So maybe we can start with the AI book discovery chat.
Okay, thank you. And first of all, thank you for this great course from zero to something in AI. Really, really appreciate and thank you for the entire contents and going through our questions and answers. And to get to the project, we were trying to find out a couple of projects. And basically, this project is about capturing some of whatever we have learned. So as part of the project, sorry, just me. So trying to look for a project that to implement whatever we have learned, and what we have done is, oh, by the way, Dan, or you, please unmute yourself, and both of us worked on this.
Go ahead,
Yes.
Siva. Go ahead, Siva.
Thank you. So these are some of the API libraries were, great libraries providing APIs for us to, can browse books and get contents and learn more about the books. And I tried with some of the APIs, and the display wasn't that great in the sense, finally to present on the GUI, we have to do some more work. So I found for now Google Books API worked better. So created this AI chatbot, book discovery API, chatbot using Google Books API. And here is also the tech stack kind of used for this project. Let me go here, requirements. This is the tech stack kind of used for this project, but at some point, probably LangChain I had to remove LangChain because of compatibility issues, and I'll try to fix that later on again. And basically the project is also, we are also using ChromaDB for vector storing. This is more for preference semantic search. So next time when there is a search or a similar search preferences, is the tech stack. And how it works is this is the flow. from the GUI, user can look for a book based on book topic or of interest or of author and stuff, and similar queries like that. And then it reaches this fast API backend, and then the endpoint, chat endpoint, and then it goes to Olama LLM, sorry, and makes a book search based on, right now I'm using Google Books API, and based on the vector stores also, it makes a semantic search. And so I have deployed this, and then just for presenting, I had this ready. This is what we see in front end. Please let me know if you're able to see my screen well.
Yes, we can see
Yes,
it.
we can
Yeah,
see.
I'm trying to minimize this. Yeah. So I kind of have the application running, and I'm trying to search, find me artificial intelligence books written by author Ali Amanian. I'm trying to run this. It should get an answer soon. Yeah, here we get the list of books retrieved along with summary, and here is the formatted presentation here on the right. Although it did not get me with the name Ali Amanian, it got me with near context books, top 10 books. So this is basically, and then let's say I want to get a summary of instead of short, I gave it short, but hopefully the LLM takes care of it. So here is the summary of the book we get. Okay, let's have a summary. Oh, it's saying Armenian based. Oh no, okay. Based on a provided kind of overall summary, understanding what by is a practical accessible guide. Maybe I'm not sure if this is actual content from your book, Ali, but please allow me to use your name to search.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so
maybe is it search based? If you switch to machine learning, it may work better than
I
AI.
see.
I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, continue.
Okay. Well, basically, this is what I have, and at some point, I am also planning to include all of these APIs at some point, all of the library APIs, and go and get a search. And what I find is after making this, it also gives me suggestions for other books, related topics, related context. So that I found it interesting. On that I found it only after using a vector database context. So that's at some point maybe again I want to include all these APIs, and I'm hoping it is useful. And I'm hoping it is making sense as a project for this Capstone project also. This is what I have. Please, if anyone has any questions, any feedback, please feel free to ask.
This was awesome. Thank you so much. I promise I'll be your first customer once you have it.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I think it's a real need. So that's awesome.
Oh, thank you. And
Thanks, Ali. You're in recording. You can't change your mind.
All right. Any questions?
Just want to add, it's all like free service, free API, free vector database, LLM, and locally hosted. We're not paying for any of these service right now.
And I will also filter out the code that are used and then put it in Git and share it shortly in a day or two.
That would be great.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
I have one follow-up question. So
yes,
yes. So the book search, right? Does it go and make the live call, or is it already prefetched and then vector stored?
So it is the first time when we call the vector database starts with 0. I haven't done any indexing initially. So from the first call onwards, it stores in the vector database, and then it adds to the context from there on.
Got it. So for the first time, do you make tool calling? How does it know that which API to reach out to?
Yes, it's Google API.
Right now it's hard coded to Google API.
Google API. Here it is.
There's too many to load it in the database, so that's why we didn't want to load. But we are just loading it whoever asks based on the user request. We are loading it, whatever users are asking, instead of loading everything.
I see. So when you receive the query, right, it's a
Yes.
natural language query. How do you translate that query into the API request?
So I'm letting the LLM take care of that actually.
Okay.
Yep. Here's the chat part.
Okay. So LLM take from the input, it already extracts what has to be supplied in the API request.
Yes.
I
And
see.
I will definitely put this in Git and share this. If everybody want to take further look at it, of course.
Yeah, this is neat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please share the feedback if you have in the chat, and we can move to the next project. Quizmaster.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation.
Hey everyone, let me start sharing my screen. Oops. All right. Are you guys able to see my screen?
I am not yet able to see it.
Sorry, there's something going on. Okay. How about now?
It says it has started the screen sharing, but okay, now it appeared.
All right, perfect. Sorry for the trouble. Thank you, everybody, for taking your time to be here for this demo. All right, so mine is a small POC, which I've done from my heart. So we were learning a lot of new material through this course, and I kind of got lost too many times between so many LLMs, as well as it used to take me multiple readings just to get the concept into my mind. So the idea struck my head that, hey, what if I build an LLM-powered interactive quiz generator? Take our cohort slides, our cohort material, diagrams, PDFs, and the text that Ali has created, and create a AI quiz that we can evaluate ourselves on the concepts that we are learning, where we are at, and use all the use a RAG model behind it. But that was a bigger project, but I had to narrow it down to a smaller POC for today. Basically, what I achieved in building so far is that there is a small corpus of training data, and I, based on this, I'm able to extract structured knowledge from, let's say, cohort materials. At this point, my cohort material is only a single PDF document. I plan to expand it to multiple other cohort materials, but as of now, the project extracts structured knowledge from this cohort materials, generates tiered questions, which are both factual as well as conceptual. And it has a Streamlit web app UI that is built in, which generates multiple choice questions. and we can evaluate ourselves by going through the quiz or the exam, whichever, whatever you want to call it. It totally runs locally. It doesn't call any APIs. And I'm going to go into the code and I'm going to show you what was my training corpus. So this particular page that you're looking at, I've converted this into a PDF, and this is the only training corpus that I've used for my POC, meaning the times that you see for each project, the name of the project, everything becomes important when the questions are generated. So the exam that I'm going to show you, or the Quizmaster UI that I'm going to show you, is based on the content that you're seeing in this one specific page or slide. So let me go back to this. Okay. So printed that to a PDF. Now this becomes my the RAG data, where I had to use this cohort slide and extract initial knowledge base from it. I converted this into text chunks and built a face vector index for retrieval. And then I also built a question generation engine. What this does is it pulls relevant chunks and creates multiple choice questions using the Olama models. As of now, I'm only using two models. One is, I believe, Mistral 7 as well as 5.3 Mini. I do some standardized LLM. The LLM output, I've spent some time on formatting it as well as making it a structured JSON output, so that depending on whatever text you type into to create the quiz, each time the quiz UI shows the output in a consistent manner, provides you with the multiple choice questions that you could answer. There is a lot more I want to do with this, but let me get into the actual web app itself. All right. Let me minimize this. So this is the Quizmaster. What, let's say if I want to generate a quiz based on reasoning models. I click generate quiz. Hopefully it doesn't take too much time. Right now, as you can see, I've selected the Mistral 7B model. I have just another small 5 mini out there too. We'll look at an example using that model as well. It's generating a quiz based on the data it took in, so let me see, here. The data that you see on this particular page, it is trying to generate a quiz on it. Let's see what it does. If the questions and the answers it generates for each MCQ is relevant and let's give it another few seconds. While this is generating, I'm going to talk more. So I've also built up a score history where once the quiz is generated and you go through the multiple choice questions and submit the answers are stored in a CSV file within the project itself. And the history for each of the quizzes that you have taken is shown in the sidebar. And it'll show the model that you have taken the quiz on, how much percentage you have achieved or you have scored in that particular quiz. The idea is to make this an exam generator more than a quiz generator, so that we have an entire certification product where we are able to provide diagrams, PDFs, more textual context, so that this project could generate multiple MCQs, and users are able to take the quiz and submit and evaluate the performance, maybe even create a certificate at the end of it. This was supposed to get done by now, but it's not. Please bear with me. while that is generating, let me go into the code and show you. Okay, so there is the quiz app. What this does is it handles the user input, the topic, the model selection, and it displays the generated quizzes. It also manages the session state for the answers, the submissions, and the scores that were generated. It also writes the results to the CSV file that just indicated. Outputs should be somewhere. So yeah, as you can see, the my previous quiz intakes and my submissions and my scores are stored in the CSV file once I'm able to submit my answers. I also have generated questions that I've spoken about earlier. So this is where the core logic behind the quiz generation is happening. It retrieves relevant context chunks from the vector store. It passes them to the selected LLM model, which is Mistral in our case. It passes the LLM output into a structured JSON, and it returns the data to the Streamlit web app. There's also another Olama utils. This one is more related to how I'm prompting, where it defines the default model and handles model loading and prompt templates. And it also runs the local inference requests using Olama. I'm again using the local Olama. Let's see if the quiz. Sorry, guys. This didn't take so much time when I did it before I started sharing the screen, but let me refresh it and try. Let's see. Let me stop this and start it again. I'm sorry. I thought I could do this today, but all right. I don't want to waste you guys' time. Believe there's something happening with me sharing my screen and a lot of memory being utilized for this process. This used to take probably 30 to 40 seconds, but it is taking more time right now. So I anyways want to build this up more. Oh, okay.
Oh,
all right.
It worked.
Finally. All right. Okay, so as you can see, let me put, oh, let's go here. Let's do this. All right, so as you can see, it generated a list of multiple choice questions, which are bound in context with the data that I provided. That is that one single slide. So if you can see, it is asking for specific, let me do some random selections, okay? Which lesson is scheduled for Saturday, November 1st? Let me do this. How many sections does the course have? I think we have 6 or 7. The total course length is, I believe, 24 hours. Demo, all right, this we know. All right, let me submit the answers. All right, so the quiz is submitted successfully. I have a score. My results are saved to the CSV. The sidebar is also updated with when did I take the quiz, what is the topic I chose, what is the model I chose, what's the score, and the percentage and the best top score too. I can change the model to some other, but I don't want to do this right now because you have already taken up your time more than I intended to. So the idea is in the next project demo, this quiz will be on top of the exact course material, and it'll have more relevant questions. Right now, the questions are only embedded in context or more relevant to that one specific slide that I've used, just this one. Earlier, when I was using this MCQs, there were questions about, okay, what is the length of this particular guided learning? Or it would say how many chapters are available in week 4. So it's more trying to generate questions based on top of this one corpus I've provided. But the idea is to extend it to almost all or the entire training material that we have had. So each of us could use it to test our skills. I find use for it in the place where I work as well, meaning I work in the manufacturing industry. We are more into safety. We actually get paid bonuses on whether employees are following safety procedures. And we have to take multiple exams every week to make sure that we are following safety guidelines in practice. So I find use for something like this over there too, in case anyone is interested, but it has more uses elsewhere. Like let's say there's a textbook or there's a digital PDF that your kid has read through, you want to test his knowledge, just use this tool to generate MCQs and they can answer and read themselves. Yeah, that's about it for my demo. Thank you for taking more time. Any questions?
Thank you so much. It was a great demo and neat idea. We have one question. Mohammed, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I was wondering, are you feeding like are you feeding the like PDF screen or screenshot to the?
Yes, I am exactly doing that. So sorry, I cut off.
Okay,
So I created.
Yeah, I was wondering
PDF.
whether you go recursively download the slides.
So I just took this PDF, but come next demo, it will be a huge list of, let's say, slides or JPEGs, which will from which all the information will be extracted. It has the capacity to extract from diagrams as well, so there'll be more relevant questions. And
maybe even the videos. Yeah.
I haven't gone to the video yet.
Oh, no. Yeah, just yeah.
But I don't know how long that would take. But I'll try. If there's any other suggestions that you guys have, please send me a message. I'll try and include it in my next demo. So
Great
that
idea. Yeah, thanks.
This quiz is more relevant to what we're learning.
I have one suggestion on the same point, right? So for videos, I would say if you have the transcript, use that transcript directly for the RAG purpose. Yeah.
I initially wanted to just go with the transcript. But yeah, I think that is 100% possible. I'll try and see if I can extract the transcript as well.
Yeah, this is very useful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you all for all the great presentations. We are about 20 minutes over. I apologize. We were supposed to end earlier, but the projects were so amazing, so I didn't want to end. We'll also have the other extra demo day that we already scheduled. So looking forward to see all those projects as well. Feel free to join, even if you've presented today. And yeah, so have a good day and thank you so much again. I'll still continue answering questions on the course portal if you have any. Thank you so much for the presentations. It was awesome. Thank you. Bye.